On January 15, 1919, a disaster is unfolding in Boston's North End. A massive storage tank, filled with 2.3 million gallons of molasses, is bursting, sending a giant wave of syrupy liquid crashing through the streets at an estimated 35 miles per hour. The ground shakes, and a roar echoes through the air as the tank collapses, releasing its deadly contents. The molasses, weighing approximately 13,000 short tons, rushes through the streets, sweeping away everything in its path. People and horses are struggling to escape the sticky, sweet-smelling mass, but it's too late. The disaster is claiming lives, and the streets are filling with the sounds of chaos and desperation. The Purity Distilling Company's facility at 529 Commercial Street is the epicenter of the catastrophe, and the nearby Boston Harbor is about to become a graveyard for the victims. As the molasses wave peaks at 25 feet high, it's driving steel panels against the girders of the adjacent Boston Elevated Railway, and nearby buildings are being swept off their foundations. The destruction is catastrophic, and the death toll is rising. As the molasses wave crashes through the streets of Boston's North End, it's essential to understand the historical context that led to this disaster. Boston, in the early 20th century, is a city in the midst of rapid industrialization. The city's harbor is bustling with ships, and its streets are lined with factories, warehouses, and tenements. The industrial era has brought unprecedented growth and prosperity to Boston, but it also creates an environment where safety regulations are often overlooked in the pursuit of profit. The United States Industrial Alcohol Company, which owns the molasses storage tank, is a major player in this industrial landscape. The company's facility, located on Commercial Street, is a testament to the city's thriving industrial sector. As we delve deeper into the events leading up to the Great Molasses Flood, it becomes clear that the disaster is not just a tragic accident, but also a consequence of the city's rapid industrialization. Boston's North End, with its narrow streets and densely populated neighborhoods, is particularly vulnerable to industrial accidents. The city's infrastructure is struggling to keep pace with the rapid growth, and the lack of safety regulations and oversight creates an environment where disasters like the Great Molasses Flood can occur. The stage is set for a catastrophe, and the city's industrial landscape will never be the same. The events of January 15, 1919, will forever change the face of Boston's North End, and the city's approach to industrial safety will be re-evaluated in the aftermath of the disaster. As the industrial landscape of Boston's North End continues to thrive, a sense of unease settles over the residents. The Purity Distilling Company's massive molasses tank, constructed in 1915, stands as a looming presence, its very existence a testament to the company's efforts to outrace prohibition. The 18th Amendment, set to be ratified just a day later, on January 16, 1919, hangs like a specter over the city, driving the company to fill the tank to capacity, despite the warning signs that have been ignored for years. Arthur Gell, the company's treasurer, oversaw the construction of the tank, neglecting basic safety tests, such as filling it with water to check for leaks. The tank's walls, already under intermittent stress from being filled only 8 times since its construction, groan and creak with each filling, a sound that has become all too familiar to the local residents. The tank leaks so badly that it has been painted brown to hide the leakage, and locals have taken to collecting the spilled molasses for their own use. The steel used in the tank's construction is half as thick as it should be, even by the standards of the time, and it lacks manganese, making it more brittle. The rivets are flawed, and cracks have begun to form at the rivet holes. The tank is a disaster waiting to happen, and the warmer weather on the day before the disaster will only add to the pressure building inside. As the temperature rises from 2 to 41 degrees Fahrenheit, the air inside the tank expands, putting additional stress on the already weakened walls. The stage is set for a catastrophe, and the city's industrial landscape will never be the same. The events of January 15, 1919, will forever change the face of Boston's North End, and the city's approach to industrial safety will be re-evaluated in the aftermath of the disaster. The tank's impending failure is a ticking time bomb, and the residents of the North End are unaware of the horror that is about to unfold. The molasses, a thick, sticky liquid, is about to become a deadly force, sweeping through the streets with unprecedented speed and fury, leaving a trail of destruction and death in its wake. The tank's impending failure is a ticking time bomb, and the residents of the North End are unaware of the horror that is about to unfold. On January 15, 1919, the molasses tank at 529 Commercial Street explodes under pressure, releasing a massive wave of molasses into the streets. The disaster is unfolding at this very moment, as a 40-foot wave of molasses buckles the elevated railroad tracks, crushes buildings, and inundates the neighborhood. The structural defects in the tank, combined with unseasonably warm temperatures, have created a perfect storm of destruction. As the molasses flood sweeps through the streets, it is a deadly force, moving with unprecedented speed and fury. The residents of the North End are caught off guard, and many are trapped in the sticky, sweet liquid. The scene is one of utter chaos, with people screaming and trying to escape the molasses as it rises above their knees, then their waists, and finally, their heads. The disaster is claiming lives, and the death toll is mounting by the minute. The molasses flood is not just a disaster, it is a tragedy that will leave a lasting impact on the city of Boston. The North End, once a thriving neighborhood, is now a scene of devastating destruction. Buildings are destroyed, and the elevated railroad tracks are severely damaged. The smell of molasses fills the air, and it will remain a distinctive atmosphere of Boston for decades to come. As the disaster unfolds, the people of Boston are in a state of shock and panic. They are trying to make sense of the destruction and the loss of life. The city is in chaos, and it will take weeks, even months, to recover from the devastating effects of the molasses flood. The disaster is a wake-up call for the city, and it will lead to significant changes in the way that industrial facilities are designed and constructed. The Great Molasses Flood is a tragedy that will never be forgotten, and it will always be remembered as one of the most devastating disasters in American history. The 21 people who lost their lives in the disaster will never be forgotten, and their memory will live on as a reminder of the importance of safety and responsible industrial practices. As the molasses floodwaters slowly recede, the true extent of the devastation becomes clear. Rescue efforts are underway, with emergency responders and volunteers racing against time to save those trapped in the sticky, suffocating mess. The streets of Boston's North End are a scene of utter chaos, with horses and carts overturned, buildings damaged, and debris scattered everywhere. The smell of molasses hangs heavy in the air, a constant reminder of the disaster that has unfolded. The investigation into the cause of the disaster begins immediately, with officials from the company that owned the storage tank, Purity Distilling Company, facing tough questions about the construction and maintenance of the facility. The tank, which was built in just a few short months, had been the subject of warnings and concerns from local residents and workers, who had feared a disaster like this could happen. As the inquiry gets underway, it becomes clear that a combination of factors contributed to the tragedy, including the tank's faulty construction and the unusually warm weather on the day of the disaster. The people of Boston are left to pick up the pieces and try to make sense of the tragedy that has befallen their city. The death toll stands at 21, with many more injured, and the community is in shock. The legal battles that will follow the disaster will be long and complex, with many claiming negligence on the part of the company responsible for the storage tank. The aftermath of the Great Molasses Flood is a difficult and trying time for the city of Boston, as it struggles to come to terms with one of the most bizarre and devastating disasters in its history. As the city of Boston struggles to come to terms with the Great Molasses Flood, the disaster leaves a lasting impact on industrial safety regulations. The tragedy of January 15, 1919, claims the lives of 21 people and injures many more, with the cleanup efforts taking months to complete. Today, the site of the disaster is a reminder of the importance of safety protocols and regulations. Author Stephen Pulio's book, Dark Tide, sheds light on the events leading up to the disaster, providing a detailed account of the tragedy. The Boston Public Library's archives, including photos on Flickr, serve as a poignant reminder of the devastating event. As we reflect on this bizarre and devastating disaster, we honor the memories of those who lost